Now, one something in the morning here in Reykjavik, Iceland. Tuesday, September the 5th. My name is Adam Jibreel, originally from New York, but I am most recent a Californian. So, what I'm charging, it's what time is it now? Like I said, one something a.m. in the morning, which most people would want to be able to sleep. But in my circumstance, I'm not able to have a wife or a spouse or a bed or anything like that, as has been determined by my Muslim community, that I shouldn't have those things. So I'm alleging and I'm forwarding charges as I speak today as an American that I'm targeted by some sort of activity. I don't know the nature of the activity. Just said to have your own dignity and respect. I don't know the activity, what it is, but I'm targeted by something, some sort of activity, which is inclined or lean to fascism. So I had to leave the U.S. And it's apt that I choose the word activity because there is a secret effort called the activity out of Fort Belvoir, Virginia. It's called the activity. Presidents don't even interfere with it. It's called the activity. And this was set upon me by some errant Muslims who practice sort of mysticism, Sufism, and I broke off from it and I didn't want it. So I had a little bit of a fascist encounter after going to the mosque near Pearland, which is run by Kareem Askari, who when I first came in, he let me stay 30 plus days, but that was of no generosity. I found out he has very good links with the U.S. Embassy. I found out he has very good links with the security and police and intelligence structure here, Kareem Askari. Even despite the fact that he's a wife beater, he's a known wife abuser of Icelandic women here, but he's respected among the Muslims, and particularly the Moroccan, because he's a Moroccan. And he got fortunate, he got lucky, if you would call it, but fortunate for hooking up with an Iraqi Kurd or Iraqi out of Sweden who's plugged into Gulf money, who wanted to do something here in Iceland and they needed a representative. He hit it at the right place at the right time. They wanted to do something here and they had Gulf-backed money to build something Islamic here, which there's no shortage of the spigot of money. So he hit it right at the right place and right at the right time. He hit it. And that being said, Kareem now is in charge of that. They generally don't really have a caring for me because I come from the United States. I'm from America, from New York, and I have an attitude. And I'm a Californian. They really don't like it. So the only thing that I have left now is to wait to apply for a new passport. I need a new passport, and I need an attorney to do it because of the problems that I've had with this activity in the past. I need legal counsel. To hire this last set of legal counsel, it's going to cost me like $1,500 US, about $1,500 to do this. People in my community have the money, in my religious community. That's all I have. I don't have anything else. Even though I have a wealthy family, yeah, I'm an outcast because of my religious change from my wealthy family. So I have my religious community, the $1,500 or even $2,500, they have the money. They've always had the money. There was some effort by something when I came here in March by armed men when I left San Francisco airport. Two armed men of U.S. Customs and Border Control stopped me. I was the only person they stopped to ask questions and who was I coming to see and why was I leaving the United States for what reason was I leaving the United States. But little did they know that though I had a two-way or round trip, I intended a one-way, meaning not to come back. But it almost turned into a one-way of the most negative manner tonight, where there was a license plate called Delta X-ray 497 or 897 or something, which there was some fascist young guys. They were like skinheads, and they came here and they kept pointing in here, and then they came back again, two and three times again. So this fast sort of activity almost targeted me, and I escaped. I got out of it in time, and this was the first night that I encountered that. Yeah, They came by twice. And even a man that was of Semitic, of Jewish ancestry, was standing here. I think he was from California, someplace. He said, yeah. I said, doggone the fastest. I said something like that because I ran. And when I came towards the car, they pulled off. But they would come and they would point in. They would point in at me when there were less people in there. And then the guy who was of Semitic, which you would call Jewish ancestry, he said, yeah. He said, I saw that, like that. So we don't know if they were thugs hired by Muslims who would have an idea of where I would go. Corrupt Muslims that are in charge of mosques and Islamic places here in Iceland who have a collusion with the fascist aspect of Europe, because there was one named Salman Tamimi who was a heavy Palestinian Tamimi, especially Tamimi last name. They're really into a lot of Palestinian hardline stuff against Jews. So Salman Tamimi, who was the first place that let me stay 3 or 4 nights, and even then they wanted to kick me out because his mosque is run by Sufism, Sufi mysticism. The Sufis do not like me. So Salman Tamimi told me he knew the fascist founder of the immigration, what is called the Utlandingasnufnen. He and the fascist Nazi SS sympathizer, SS inclined, SS supporter. During World War II, the man was an SS supporter. The man that founded the immigration here, he and that guy were friends. Salman Tamimi and the guy was friends. I said, oh shit. He even knew him by first name. Alti or something. They were close friends, man. So Benjamin Netanyahu was not wrong when he said that there was a collusion between Palestinians and the Nazi structure. And that's why a lot of Jews, a lot of Israel, I don't like calling them Jews. The Jewish community, Israelis, a lot of them are pissed off with Palestinians. Yeah, plotting with people who want to exterminate you. Of course, what do you think, man? But blacks have nothing to do with that, man. And I have no idea why I would be targeted by people practicing Kabbalah, and people practicing Masonic stuff, occult type stuff, Kabbalah, against me. I don't know why, man. But things have gone disproportionately awry for me. I had a contract. I had a truck driving. I'm trying for truck driving. I was timely. It was while my visa was still valid here. I had asked the Muslim community to help me with the $2,500 to help me towards that end. So that I could pay them back. The salary was exceeding $2,500 a month, easily exceeding $2,500, more like close to $4,000, $4,500 a month. The Muslims would not do it now. They wouldn't do the Qadr Hassan, and so much so, they even didn't have to loan me the money cash. They didn't have to give me money. They would give it to other European professionals, lawyers, or different intermediaries, people, because I have no family to do the running around to accumulate the paperwork that the Icelandic government requires. So I have to have legal intermediaries to do such things, a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, totaling 2,500 euros or $2,500, no more than that. And then I could sleep on the streets or sleep in the truck or whatever while I earned my money to my first month's paycheck. I could have did that months ago. The Muslim community colluded with some sort of effort. I don't know what kind of effort it is. I cannot discern it. It's indiscernible to me yet. But they colluded with something. On my arrival here immediately, as I met the prominent attorney Ragnar Adelsteinsen. Ragnar Adelsteinsen is so prominent here. He could easily take me to the United Nations in Strasbourg and argue my case. And I think for rights, not for citizens, I would never try to be a citizen here. I'm not a person of the soil and of the ethnicity of the land, but I would try to be a permanent resident, but not a citizen. He could easily argue for me on the stage, but something polluted that relationship, that meeting with him. Something polluted it. Because the 2 armed men in San Francisco, I told you, stopped me and they questioned me, why was I coming here? And he was one of the reasons why I come here. But the real motivation for me coming here was Edward Snowden. Because I'm a victim of something related to a COINTELPRO type abuse. I am not insane, nor am I delusional, nor do I embellish. I do not embellish. And they exaggerate such matters. And what this has done, it has affected my relationships with other Muslims, and particularly stopgapped relations with potential Muslim women who would have been a spouse to me, not multiple spouses, but one spouse to me, to be able to help me out of this quagmire that I'm in, and then I would pay the woman back, or there would be no money given to me at all, but I would have the support to be vocationally stable in what I know how to do, which is truck driving. They have made this adversarial effort has been huge, And you would say, why such an insignificant black guy? You're not important. Why would the government spend their money? They're not doing anything to you. Folks, I have the evidence and the proof that they have been and still are using it, particularly tracking of, concerning my phone. The counterterrorism app authorities named the Vikings, they know about me already. They know about me. Some of them laugh. Some of them can't believe it, that a black guy who doesn't have any money, who doesn't have anything, who doesn't have any place, he can't even change his clothes properly. This black guy is some sort of threat because it's some sort of fascist. I don't like using the word racist. As soon as you use the word racist and I'm as black as I am, my argument becomes immediately discounted that I'm using that, I'm playing the race card. I'm not playing the race card, but it's fascism. It is a fascism that I have been alluding to and warning about for years. Even I've warned in legal filings that I did on my own. And no one helped me because I could not find legal. Lawyers were too scared to take my case. They were too afraid to take my case. They wouldn't take my case. That there was a lurking fascism rising up in America. But chiefly it would hit people like me because I have no family structure. Meaning, forget the mother thing. The mother's totally weak. Yeah, she's non-Muslim, but not because she's non-Muslim. She's aging. She wants to get out of where she is. I don't have the money to help her get out. She wants to escape. She wants to escape where she is. And the other thing is I have no extended family, like extended tribe to a wife nikah, marriage structure like in Islam. When you marry in Islam, you don't marry only the woman, you marry the whole family out. That whole family becomes your family. This discrete effort, whatever this effort is, this quote unquote activity has ensured this, that I do not have that all stopgaps, that I do not have that, and particularly women of Singapore, which could easily travel anywhere to be with me, or women of Malaysia, which is not that difficult to travel, countries like that, or Western women that have easily access to travel, very difficult for me to have a relationship. There are even women from the UK who have expressed interest, or the US. Folks, I have hard evidence and proof of this, folks. Let me repeat this to you. I do not embellish. I have hard evidence and proof that these women have been intimidated or contacted or threatened not to ever communicate with me again. Women who initially expressed interest in me as a possible spouse within my own religion. I'm not allowed that by this quasi-government activity. It's just very sick what's going on, and I'm not finding anybody to take my case. No legal counsel. I have now overstayed here, and I could be grabbed and carted out, and this whole thing could be silenced. And this very thing is the thing that validates everything Edward Snowden did. It validates everything that he did. My case up. And they're trying to silence it. They're trying to shut it up under the veneer and under the umbrella and appearance of delusion and instability. This is what these people are trying to do. For the sake of a Euro predominant ethnic fascism, even if they're weaker middle, METTLE, their populations are supported not to be in the streets. Even their slackers, which is a US-based term, their slacker material is supported not to be destitute and on the streets and alone. It's supported. It's supported by de facto. By de facto, it's supported. But people like us, readily thrown out into the curb and into the pavement, especially the Afro-ethnic males. And if not that, push towards prosecutory action for incarceration. Very, very much so, especially by the Anglo-American structure. Very much so that. So one of my reasons which the Muslim community was trying to find out for me being here is superficially on the surface, yeah, true. Truck driver, this is what I am, but I've come here for a political, a benign political activity, which is to reach members of the UN body and to file a formal complaint. This is what Dr. King and Malcolm X could not do. They were planning to do it. They were going to file a formal complaint against the U.S. And this is what I've come to finish. If I can get my new documents to file a formal complaint about human rights abuses based on ethnicity, based on fascism, fascist inclinations. And this is why I've been targeted. Because I married a woman that was of Celtic ancestry, who's Canadian, and I didn't stay with the woman, and that angered some people. I didn't stay, and I didn't acquiesce to the woman, to her ways and what she wanted. No, I'm a New York man, just like President Trump. I'm in New York, man. I'm not going for that, man. I want to be the breadwinner. I want to be the one always share teamwork, man. I don't want to be out here working in the elements, which I'm going to explain in a moment.